We all know that vanilla is at the top of the list of ice cream flavors, but in my house, butter pecan ranks pretty high up there as well. That caramelized sweetness, the rich buttery flavor, the nuttiness of the pecans, it's just an absolutely delicious flavor combination. And I can't help but think that those flavors would translate well in the form of a cookie. So that's exactly what we're gonna do here today. We are gonna make butter pecan cookies. I'm Lindsay from My Better Batch. Let's get baking. Is it pecan? Is it pecan? Living here in North Carolina, there sure is a strong opinion on what is right and what is wrong. And I'm not gonna get into that today, but what I will tell you is that these cookies are to die for. We are gonna be toasting our pecans, yum. We are gonna be using a brown butter, double yum. Let's get baking. For the buttered pecans, you'll need pecan halves chopped into small pieces and butter. For the cookie dough, you'll need unsalted butter, all-purpose flour, cornstarch, baking soda, salt, cinnamon, granulated sugar, dark brown sugar, eggs, and vanilla extract. You'll also need a handful of pecans to decorate the top of each cookie. So normally when we're baking cookies, we want to use softened butter, perfectly softened butter. Not too cold, not too soft, but just right, perfectly softened butter. Today's the exception. We're using unsalted butter that we are going to be turning into brown butter. And so you can just pull your sticks of butter out of the refrigerator and we're going to pop them into our skillet and I'll show you how to make it. Okay, to make our brown butter, it's really simple. You're just gonna use a light colored pan and you're gonna put it on medium-high heat. We are gonna add our 1 cup of unsalted butter and work it to a boil. Once it begins to boil, you're gonna start to see the solid particles in the butter go to the bottom of the pan and they're gonna start to turn golden brown. Be sure that during this process, you're swirling the pan occasionally and you're stirring it from time to time. You wanna keep a really close eye on the pan as it could burn very, very quickly. You're gonna start to see the top of the butter foam and you're gonna hear some popping sounds during this process. That pan's gonna start talking to you. Your butter will begin to turn a beautiful golden color and you're gonna start to smell a nutty aroma. Once you see, smell, and hear all of this, you're gonna immediately pour it into a large mixing bowl and allow it to cool for about 10 minutes. Now, in this same pan, we are gonna add 2 tablespoons of butter to those little bits and pieces of brown butter that's remaining, and then we're gonna add our 1.5 cups of chopped pecans into the pan and saute over medium heat for about 4 minutes. You will begin to smell the toasty aroma of the pecans. Just be sure to keep an eye on our pecans to make sure they don't burn during this process. Once they look like this, they are ready. Just set them to the side and allow them to cool while we work on the rest. So now that we have made our brown butter and we've toasted our pecans, we are gonna set those to the side, wait for them to cool, but we can combine all of our dry ingredients. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add 2.25 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and last, we are gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So we are just gonna use our whisk to carefully mix it together. So all of those ingredients are combined. And now we're ready to move on to our wet ingredients. Once your brown butter is completely cool, we're gonna add granulated sugar and dark brown sugar. And using a hand mixer on medium, we are just gonna mix these ingredients together until they're fully combined. Once they look like this, we are gonna add our 2 eggs and our 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and give it one more quick mix until it looks like this. Using a rubber spatula, you'll begin to fold the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients until just combined. It's important not to overmix at this step, but you should see no visible sign of flour in your mixture once complete. You're gonna go ahead and fold your butter pecan pieces into your dough and chill. Now, although we're gonna throw our dough into the refrigerator to chill, I found that it's much easier to scoop now versus waiting until it comes out of the refrigerator in 3 to 4 hours from now. So, using my 3 tablespoon scoop, I'm just gonna scoop all of the butter pecan cookie dough onto a lined baking sheet. Now, we're not gonna bake it like this, but we will store it in the refrigerator like this. And when we remove them from the refrigerator, we'll just place our cookie dough balls onto a separate baking sheet. Once you've chilled your cookies for about 3 to 4 hours, go ahead and take them out of the refrigerator. You can arrange 6 dough balls on each cookie sheet, and then you can push a half of a pecan into the top of each cookie dough ball. This will add a nice decorative touch to the finished cookie, but it's totally optional. Go ahead and place your butter pecan cookies into a 375-degree oven for about 10 to 11 minutes. Once your cookies come out of the oven, they are gonna look like this. They are so pretty. You can finish them off with sea salt flakes. I was totally out today, so I didn't. But you can serve them warm. You could serve them over ice cream. They are so good. So whether you call them pecans or pecans, I think you will agree that these cookies are a true delight. What an incredible combination of complex flavors, and it wasn't that difficult to make. We've got the nuttiness from our pecans, the richness of that brown butter, and that caramelized sweetness from the brown sugar. They are so, so good. I'm Lindsay from My Better Batch. Thanks for baking with me today. Yum! Trusty assistant. He's so good. He plays music and sings to me and tells me jokes when I'm grumpy in the afternoon.